Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please give me 1 second. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for joining this morning for Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today we will hear from Srila Prabhupada on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 15, verse number 36. So I will start the class now. Thank you.
Yadā mukundo bhagavān imāṁ mahīṁ jahau sva-tanvā śravaṇīya-sat-kathaḥ tadāhar evāpratibuddha-cetasām abhadra-hetuḥ kalir anvavartata yadā mukundo bhagavān imāṁ jahau sva-tanvā śravaṇīya-sat-kathaḥ tadāhar evāpratibuddha-cetasām abhadra-hetuḥ kalir anvavartata yadā mukundo bhagavān imāṁ jahau sva-tanvā śravaṇīya-sat-kathaḥ tadāhar evāpratibuddha-cetasām abhadra-hetuḥ kalir anvavartata yadā mukundo bhagavān imāṁ jahau sva-tanvā śravaṇīya-sat-kathaḥ tadāhar evāpratibuddha-cetasām abhadra-hetuḥ kalir anvavartata yadā when mukundaha Lord Kṛṣṇa bhagavān the personality of Godhead imāṁ this mahīṁ earth jahau left sva-tanvā with his selfsame body śravaṇīya-sat-kathaḥ hearing about him is worthwhile. Tadāhar at that time. Ahareva from the very day. Evāpratibuddha-cetasām of those whose minds are not sufficiently developed. Abhadra-hetuḥ cause of all ill fortune. Kalir anvavartata Kali fully manifested. Translation: when the personality of Godhead, Lord Kṛṣṇa, left this earthly planet in his selfsame form, from that very day Kali, who had appeared partially before, became fully manifest to create inauspicious conditions for those who are endowed with a poor fund of knowledge.
Here is one word, jahau. Jahau śravaṇīya-sat-kathaḥ. So, when Kṛṣṇa left he left with the self-same body. In the Bhagavad Gita, Kṛṣṇa says, yadā yadā hi dharmasya klāni bhavati bharata tadātmānam srijāmaham. In another place, Kṛṣṇa says, Atma-maya. Atma-maya. Maya means potency, energy. So, there are three potencies, there are many potencies. Parasya Shakti vividhaiva sriyate. God has unlimited potencies, but learned scholars, saintly persons, they have not rejected potencies, because that cannot be. There are certain philosophers, they are of opinion that God has no potency. But that is not fact. From Vedic information we see potency. What is that? How to understand the potency? The potency you can understand just like from the fire you have got two potencies, heat and light. Nobody can deny it. Similarly, as fire is placed in one place, but it expands its potencies, heat and light. That is within our experience. It is not very difficult. Similarly, the sun also, everyone can see that the sun planet, the big planet, the biggest planet, or star, as somebody says, whatever it may be, it is lying in one corner of the sky. But it expands its potencies throughout the universe. The sunshine is distributed all over the sky, all over the planetary system. And similarly, heat also. We are feeling 99 million miles away. Is that 99 miles? What is that? Scientists say? 93 millions of miles away from us. Still, we are feeling scorching heat. 120 degree, 135 degree. In Middle East, the temperature is 135 degree. It is impossible to stay on the surface of the globe. One goes down to the earth. So potency is there. If in material thing like the sun is a material thing, it has got so much potency. So, how much potencies the Supreme Personality of Godhead has got, that is called inconceivable potency. Achinta, beyond your perception. He has got that potency. So that is the statement of Vedas. Parasya natasya karyam karanancha vidyate natasya sama udikashta drishyate parasya shakti vividaiva sriyate sabhaviki jnana bala kriyacha. This is description of the absolute truth. The Supreme Person. Because it is said Tosha. Tosha means he is a person. Now what kind of person? Like me? Whole day working for money? No. Natasya karyam karanancha vidyate. He has nothing to do. See here. Kṛṣṇa has nothing to do. Simply is enjoying, playing on flute and enjoying with Radharani. That's all. He hasn't got to go to the office, to the factory. He hasn't got. It's simply to enjoy. Anandamaya abhyasa. Then we also imitate that enjoyment. We also want to mix young boys and girls, dance together. But because we imitate Kṛṣṇa. The same thing is there. With gopis, Kṛṣṇa is dancing. Here also we are dancing in nightclub, at this club, that club. But that will not give you satisfaction because it is imitation. If you want real dancing, come to Kṛṣṇa. That is wanted. That is Kṛṣṇa consciousness. That we are trying to take the misled people from illusion to the reality. The Mayavadi philosopher, they see that there is no more any pleasure in this dancing, make it zero. Forget it. No, we don't say that. We say that this dancing is there in the original conception and the absolute truth. That is the Vedanta Sutra said, janmadasya jatah. Whatever you are experiencing, where from it has come? It has come from the absolute. That is the absolute idea. But here, in the relative world, it is pervertedly reflected. And because it is not reality, therefore you are confused, baffled. So our proposition is, come to the reality. That is Kṛṣṇa consciousness. The same dancing, just like here is the picture, Kṛṣṇa is dancing with the gopis. We also like, anybody of us, in old age, they are dancing with young girls. In Paris, there is club. All going to die, such old men, they are coming in the club, paying $50 as entrance fee. Then they have to pay for young girls and wine. But still they come. They cannot actually enjoy. Bhayagate king jubati nari. When one is old man, what is the use of mixing with young girls? Yes. So, but they like it. They like it. They pay for it. But they do not enjoy. Because if they have enjoyed, they would have been satisfied. But they are not satisfied. Frustrated. So this is the position. The position. Just like the heat and light, if you are feeling the heat in the sunshine, but that does not mean the sun is there. You cannot say that. Sun is there and not there. This is called simultaneously inconceivable presence of God everywhere. He is present everywhere. That is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagat abbhakta murtina masthani sarvutani nahangateshu avastita. Maya tatamidam sarvam. Kṛṣṇa says, by my impersonal feature, I am spread everywhere. Everywhere. Everywhere is Kṛṣṇa. Masthani sarvabhutani. Everything resting on me. This is the fact. Just like in this material world, everything resting on the sunshine. That is scientific. Is it not scientific? The sunshine, the planets, they are rotating on account of this heat and sunshine. Is it not a theory?
Yes, by gravitational attraction.
Yes. So, now what do we mean by everything? Just like this planet. Everything with this planet, the trees, the rivers, the mountains, the cities, the cars, everything within this planet, that is an unit. So this is one planet. And there are millions and trillions of planets. But how they are existing? Existing on the sunshine. So what from the sunshine comes? The sunshine comes from God, or the sun comes from God. Janmadasya-jataḥ. Everything is born. Everything is emanating from the Absolute. Therefore, indirectly, everything is depending on Kṛṣṇa's potency. Masani sarvabhutani, everything is resting on my potency. Naham teshu avasthita, but I am not there. This is the achinta bhedavet tattva, simultaneously one and different. This is our philosophy. So, our point is that Kṛṣṇa or God is there and He is working through His potencies. Just like a big man, he is sitting in his parlor, he hasn't got to go. Just like we have seen Mr. Bidla in those who are with me, they have seen. He's sitting in his home, but he has got many potencies. He has got secretaries, clerks, and this and that, so many things. So they are doing all work. He hasn't got to work. A big man means he hasn't got to work personally. He has got so many assistants. Similarly, Kṛṣṇa, he is the Supreme. He hasn't got to work himself. He hasn't got to work. Vrindavanam parityajya na padomekam gacchati. He is always engaged in his playing flute and dancing with the gopis. That's all. Pleasure. Anandamaya bhyasa. That is pleasure. So, his potencies are working. What kind of potency? That is described. I have given the example. Just like the sun is there, and the sunshine is there, and the sunshine is working, everything. By the sunshine, the trees are coming out, the leaves are coming out, they are dropping when there is no sunshine. So everything depending on sunshine. That is explained in the Vedic literature. Eko desha stita shagne josna vistarina jatha parasya brahmana shakti sarvidam akhilam jagat. Parasya brahmana shakti, whatever you are seeing in this cosmic manifestation, they are simply demonstration of the potency of the Lord. Parasya brahmana shakti. So, we take our birth and we accept our death, not independently. We are under the another potency. We are also on potency. The potency, there are prasya shakti vividaiva sriyate. Those potencies have been divided into three. Multi, but roughly they have been divided into three. One is called internal potency. One is called the external potency. And one is called the marginal potency. So, the external potency means this material world. The whole material universe, so many universes, so many planets, stars, skies and everything. These are the demonstration of the external potency. And similarly, there is the spiritual world. Spiritual world that we cannot see. That is not within our experience, but we get it from the Shastra, in the Bhagavad Gita. It is said, parastasmatu bhava anya. Kṛṣṇa says, there is another nature. Parastasmat, this material nature. Beyond that, there is another nature. Parastasmatu bhava anya, bhaktya bhaktya sanatana, that is eternal. This material nature is not eternal. Just like your body, my body, it is not eternal. Similarly, this gigantic body of universe, that is also not eternal. It has a date of creation and it has a date for dissolution. That is the nature. Therefore it is said that material nature is sanatana. That is never created, neither it is annihilated. So we marginal means actually we belong to the spiritual nature because we are spirit soul. But we have come in contact with this material nature, somewhere or other. So therefore we are seeing our position incompatible. We cannot adjust here. Therefore we are getting one type of body and enjoying or suffering another type of body, another type of body, another type of body. This is going on. Therefore we are called marginal. If we like, we can transfer ourselves to the spiritual world and remain eternally because we are of the spiritual nature. That is described in the Bhagavad Gita. Na jayate na mriyate va kadachit nitta sāsatoyam na hannati hannamani sariri. This is the description of the soul. The soul is never born. Na jayate. Na mriyate, neither it dies. Na jayate va mriyate va kadachit, at any time. Not that sometimes we used to live or sometimes we used to die. No. Everlastingly, eternally. We never take our birth, never we die. Then what is this death? This death is of the material body, not of the soul. Therefore it is said, na hannate hannamani sarire, more distinctly, that don't think that the soul is dead after the annihilation of this body. So now the conclusion is that because we are marginal, in between the spiritual nature and the material nature, although we are spiritual, although we are, our real nature is na jayate na mriyate, we never take birth, never die. But on account of our contact to this material nature, we are getting this material body and the body is changing. Tatha dehantara prapti. Body is changing. And that we have taken as our nature. Birth and death. That is not our nature. We are spirit soul. And we are put into marginal because just like the margin is explained, tatastha, that is we have translated into marginal. Just like we go on the Pacific beach, someday we find the water is covering the beach, and someday we see it is open. There is no water. But that is called marginal. Marginal. Sometimes it is covered by water. Sometimes there is no water. Similarly, we being marginal potency, we are sometimes influenced by this material nature. Not always. Because at the present moment, for sometimes we are under the material nature. Now if we try, then we can get out of this covering of material nature and come to the spiritual nature. That is Kṛṣṇa consciousness movement. Krishna consciousness movement means don't remain in the marginal position, come into the land, so there will be no disturbance by the water. This is position. If you remain on the marginal position, then sometimes you will be covered by the water and sometimes it will be dry. But if you little come forward, this side, land side, the ocean has no power to touch you. But Kṛṣṇa is not like that. That is described here. Although Kṛṣṇa left this world, that does not mean that he left this world as we live. Our living this world means we are living this material body and accepting another body. Therefore, at the present moment, we are not in our own body. Our body is changing. Now this American body, and next birth may be Russian body. This is going on. We are fighting against the Russian, Americans. But he may get the Russian body next life. Therefore, as American, he fought the whole life with the Russian and he is going to become a Russian. Sada tadāhar bhavita. This is the law of nature. This is the law of nature. And then again fights against America. As soon as he gets the Russian body, then he becomes again American. This is going on. Bhutta praliyate. Sometimes Russian, sometimes American. Go on fighting. That's all. So this is called Maya. This is Maya. Everyone is doing that. Everyone is doing that. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya says, Ei rupe brahmanda bhramete kono bhagavān ji. The living entities are loitering like this. Sometimes this body, sometimes that body, sometimes this way, sometimes that way. He is simply loitering. He is not getting where to take shelter, where permanent light, permanent peace, permanent happiness, he does not know. He does not know. Simply changing. In the material world also, they are simply changing some form of government, electing one rascal, again rejecting another rascal, because they are all rascals. They have no other alternative than to elect one rascal. But they are thinking by rejecting this rascal, we shall be happy. He does not know how to elect. He does not know how to elect. They are themselves blind and they are accepting a leader who is also blind. So what will be the profit? If you are led by, you are blind, and if you are led by another blind, then what will be the profit? Both of you will fall down in the ditch. That is going on. Therefore, if you want real happiness, you must take the leadership of a man who has got eyes to see. Then it will be all right. So, whose eyes are open? That is in the Vedic literature says, Ajnana timirandhasya jnananjana salakaya chaksud militam jena tasmai sri gurave namaha. It is the business of the Guru, because everyone is blind or in darkness, cannot see. So it is the Guru's business to open his eyes or to help him to see things as they are. That is Guru's business. Ajnana timirandhasya, everyone is covered by the darkness of ignorance. So how darkness can be moved if there is light? Immediately, if you make the switch off of the electricity, this room will be dark. And again, you make the switch on, there will be light. Just like at night, we cannot see, everything is there because the light, sun is not there. And in the morning, as soon as the sun is there, again everything you can see. So things are there because we are in the darkness of ignorance. We cannot see them properly. I am there, you are there, God is there, everything is there. Simply we have to get the light or the proper situation to see things as they are. That is what. So Vedic literature, therefore, advises that if you want, first of all, Vedas advises, don't keep yourself in the darkness. Tamasima, jyotirgama. Don't keep yourself in the darkness. This is human life. In the human life, in the animal life, you kept yourself in darkness because there was no possibility of coming to the light. If I invite all the dogs and animals of Los Angeles city to come here to hear about Bhagavad Gita, it is not possible because they are animals. But if I appeal to the human being, because he is a human being, he may be interested. He should be interested, but the time is so bad that nobody is interested, but still he may be interested. But that is not possible for the animals, cats and dogs. So, in the human form of life, there is necessity of coming to the light and make a solution of the problems of life. Therefore Kṛṣṇa comes. That is the statement of Kṛṣṇa in the Bhagavad Gita. Yadā yadā hi dharmasya grani bhavati bharata tadatmanam srijāmaha atmāya. So Kṛṣṇa comes. He does not come like us. We are under the control of the material nature. But Kṛṣṇa is not under the control of material nature. That is to be understood. Therefore here it is said that jahau satanya, sa means own. And tanya, tanu means his body. We have got distinction. I am the soul, but this body is material. This distinction we have got because we are conditioned soul. Actually I am not this body, I am soul. But I have become conditioned by this material body. And in case of Kṛṣṇa, he is not conditioned by this material body. Therefore it is said satanya, by his own original and spiritual body. This is the distinction, we must understand. One scholar has described, because he does not know Kṛṣṇa and is still writing comments on Bhagavad Gita, when Kṛṣṇa says, Manmana bhava mad bhakto mad jaji imāṁ namaskuru, just think of myself, just become my devotee, offer your obeisances unto me, worship me. This rascal says, it is not to Kṛṣṇa, the person, but to the soul. Now he says, see how much ignorant he is. He does not know that Kṛṣṇa has no such division as his self or soul and the body. And he is writing comment. And this is very scholarly, it is said. He is a rascal number one, and he is accepted as scholar. This is going on. This is going on all over the world. Therefore Kṛṣṇa says, Avajananti māna mūrā mānasim tanuvāsita. Mūrās, the rascals, they think because I appear as a human being, they think as ordinary human being. Param bhava vajanant. They do not know the great potentiality of myself. Param bhava ajananta. Still they go on explaining Bhagavad Gita, writing Bhagavad comments. These rascals, mūrās, one who does not know that Kṛṣṇa has no such distinction. As we have got distinction, body and soul, Kṛṣṇa has no such distinction. Kṛṣṇa has no distinction between these. Kṛṣṇa's form of stone and Kṛṣṇa himself. Because the stone is also Kṛṣṇa's energy. Bhūmirāpanalvo vāyu. The earth, water, air, fire, everything is Kṛṣṇa's energy. That we have already explained. Parasya Brahmana Shakti. Everything Kṛṣṇa's energy. So he can appear in any form, from anywhere, from anything. That is Kṛṣṇa. That is Kṛṣṇa. So we have to understand what is Kṛṣṇa. And as soon as you understand Kṛṣṇa, janma karma medibham, jo janati tattva. In truth, if you understand Kṛṣṇa, then you become liberated. Takta deham punarjanma naiti imāṁ konti. So you have to understand Kṛṣṇa like that. Satanya, he left this body not as we leave our body. No, we are living and accepting our body by the force of nature, material nature. Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvas. Our business is going on being enforced by the laws of nature. Kṛṣṇa is not under the laws of nature. Neither he has got distinction between his self and body. This is to be understood. Satanya. If somebody thinks that Kṛṣṇa left his body and died like us, they are at party, they say like that. Kṛṣṇa also died. But that is not the fact. Kṛṣṇa left his so-called body just to befool the rascals. Because the rascals are thinking Kṛṣṇa is like us. Therefore, to bewilder them, Kṛṣṇa leaves a Maya body so that they may think that Kṛṣṇa is like us. But actually, here is the secret that jahau satanya, he left this world in his original body. He has no such distinction. Śravaṇīya-sat-kathaḥ. If his body is like our body, material body, then what is the use of hearing about his activities? We are interested in the words of Kṛṣṇa. If Kṛṣṇa is like us, he has got the same material body, then why you should be interested to read Bhagavad Gita? He is also a man like us. Therefore he has said, śravaṇīya-sat-kathaḥ. By hearing about Kṛṣṇa, you become liberated. So if he is equally as good as you are, then what is the use of reading his book, reading his instruction? But here it is said, śravaṇīya-sat-kathaḥ. Tadāhar, evāpratibuddha-cetasām. These things are spoken by less intelligent class of men. Evāpratibuddha-cetasām. They say, cetasām abhadra-hetuḥ kalir anvavartata. Because Kṛṣṇa passed away, therefore Kali got the opportunity to enter. That is, to some extent, it is fact. But Kṛṣṇa, although left this planet, and if he is everything, how Kṛṣṇa can go away? Krishna can remain with you eternally. And there, even if you say that because Krishna went away, therefore Kali got the chance of entering. But if you keep yourself with Krishna, where is the chance of Kali to enter? Where is the chance? So you keep yourself in Krishna consciousness, Kali will not be able to touch you. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining this morning for this wonderful class by Srila Prabhupada. So now we can open the forum for any comments, any questions, any clarifications. We do have His Grace Vishnu Gada Prabhu also with us, His Grace Prakshit Prabhu also with us. And all of you devotees are there. So Hare Krishna, His Grace Vishnu Gada Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you. Prabhu, anything you would like to comment on here to enlighten us more on this verse?
Hare Krishna, dear Krishna Prabhu. Yes. Well, I just one or 2 points. It was interesting that Srila Prabhupada was commenting about how, because America is fighting with Russia, that the Americans might become Russia in the next life and Russia then back be Americans and back and forth, which is illustrative of that point in Bhagavad Gita, yam yam vapi smaram bhavam tyajantyante kalevaram. Whatever you think of at the time of death, you get that in the next life. That's very practical. Anyway, I read one time a study of a person who was doing past life regressions. Whatever you think about past life regressions, some might be true, some might not be true. But anyway, the person was shocked because many of the people that he was doing the past life regressions for were people of Jewish faith, and he was surprised that they were recalling past lives of Germans in their previous life. Because of course at that time, that was some years ago, that there was the Germans were, at least the state was using concentration camps to punish and kill Jews, and vice versa. The Jews, people who were Germans, they were remembering being Jewish in their last life. So it's just an interesting point. So what we do think about at the time of death, very important. Yeah, just that point.
Thank you, Prabhu. Wonderful. And that also shows how whatever Srila Prabhupada said or wrote in his books, they are factual. And that's why he presented everything in the very scientific way. Thank you for sharing that, Prabhu. Wonderful. Anyone else would like to add, comment, anything, or any questions anyone has? Parikshit Prabhu, I don't know whether you will be able to speak, but in case you have anything, or any other devotee.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my
Hare
humble
Krishna,
obeisances,
Mataji.
August of Prabhupada. Yeah, he can't speak, but he's going to type something. But I think, I don't know, he's not. But anyway, I have a sharing. I want to thank Vishugata Prabhu for the comment he made. I blew my mind about the past regression. I was like, whoa, that really blew my mind. It was definitely a learning lesson for me. Another thing that what came to my mind, Prabhu, when I was listening to the lecture, is how beautifully, and I'm trying to think of a really better word than that, how beautifully Srila Prabhupada so nicely started off talking about, the living entity's attachment and bondage and, the nightclub and all that. And then how he so nicely, smoothly, I think that's the word, concluded with Guru, removing our ignorance, taking shelter of the spiritual master, surrendering to the spiritual master, following the instructions of the spiritual master, understanding the spiritual master's mood, connecting, like so beautifully. First, he paints this really crazy, ugly picture, at the material world. And then he so smoothly swings it into Guru. And I was like, whoa. So that was a really, really nice takeaway for me. How, everything in the material life that we're facing, especially, I was having this realization last night also, Prabhu. Sometimes we talk so much about, the subtle stuff, because I feel personally that the subtle challenges is so hard to detect because it's so subtle, like the ego and the pride, like it's so subtle and it's so deeply rooted that it's so hard to detect because it's inside, it's not visible. I think that's the word, it's not visible. And I was thinking, and then hearing Srila Prabhupada speak about Guru and how the spiritual master is the only one, at least for me, of course, Kṛṣṇa is there too, but the Guru takes us to Kṛṣṇa to help us really, pray to recognize those subtle stuff that's deeply rooted and helping us to pull out, and then when I hear, from the lecture, what Vishwagata Prabhu said, at the time of death, what we think or what we're carrying forward takes us to the next life. And I said, whoa, I gotta pray for the subtle, deep crap that's so deeply rooted that helped me to recognize it. So these are my thoughts, what's coming to my mind, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Wonderful sharing and wonderful realizations on particularly this class. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada said, um, all people, almost most of the people, they are themselves blind and they are choosing the blind leaders and following them. But in the end, like you said, he concluded we need somebody who can open our eyes, who can show us stuff because we are blinded in this material world in the sense that uh, we're illusioned. We don't know the truth. So we need somebody who is realized and who can open our eyes. Any other question? Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Please accept on the basis. All glories to you, Prabhupada. I took some notes. So basically, this is our takeaway stuff. Prabhupada talked about come to the reality. And it's talking about disco dancing and nightclub and other things that people are doing. It's imitation. Real dancing is with Krishna. Dancing with Krishna. And then he talked about this old man. I've heard him say that before. Old man going to nightclubs, paying $50 to get in, dancing with young women, and they can't really enjoy it because the body is old and still they try anyway. He also talked about the sun being in one corner, but this light and heat, this is referring to Krishna. Light and heat permeates the whole world. And Krishna's potencies like that. Krishna's potencies affect everything. He personally hasn't got to work. He's playing and he's dancing with the gopis, so he comes with all fun. Then he talked about his potencies being divided into three. He has plenty of potencies, numerous, but they divide into internal, external, and marginal. And he went through the situation of defining each one. The external potencies is not eternal, it's temporary. The internal potency is always present. Then he took the point to define marginal potency, that's us. Our souls are part and parcel of the internal potency, but we try to meddle with the external potency. So we take one material body after another. So marginal means sometimes we are influenced by the material nature, but if we try, we can come to the spiritual potency also. Then the analogy he gave was like in the beach, there's the sand in the bank. The sand's there, then the water is also there. And sometimes if we go into the water, then we are like in the external potency. and we could come to the dry land. We are in the internal potency. Therefore, we should try actually to stay in the internal potency throughout. That's our real nature. You also talk about Krishna leaving a Maya body. People say, oh, Krishna died. But Krishna left the Maya body, which looks material, in order to fool the rascals who think that Krishna is like us. And if Krishna is like us, then there's no need to read Bhagavad Gita then. Everything is like material level. So if we remain Krishna conscious, Maya will not be able to touch us. That's the final thing. So we should remain Krishna conscious so that Maya does not touch us. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Wonderful, Prabhu. I mean, you kind of summarized everything. Very impressed that even though I was trying to host today, I couldn't remember all those points following through. But thank you for recapping all those points. And when Srila Prabhupada is talking about this dancing, and you were also adding to that, commenting on that, I realized that even though we might not be going to, some of us might not be going to the nightclubs or really, not in the literally sense, but after all, we are just still dancing, serving our work duties, family duties. It is all dance. People, all the time they are so busy just in taking care of their um, personal stuff. We need to take care of all those, but sometimes people get too much engrossed in that and forget this spirituality or Krishna consciousness completely. So thank you for again reminding about that real dance is with Krishna. And like I think I heard that night when Krishna danced with gopis, or I mean, there are multiple times he did this pastime of dancing with gopis. That one night actually became the night of Brahma. That became, it became timeless. So
Yes.
the effect of time will not be there when we dance for Krishna, when we align our desires with Krishna's desires. That was kind of something that came to me. Thank you for sharing, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I think I saw Sarvang's Damodar Prabhu raised his hand. I'm not sure if he still has a question, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Please
Krishna,
accept
Prabhu.
my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to the devotees on the call. Actually, Prabhuji summarized everything, couple of points that I was remembering. But one thing going to say that Parikshit Prabhu always mentions that it's party in Golok Vrindavan all the time, even if we are serving Krishna there, still a party over there. And it's so and then yeah, of course, like Prabhupada, how he's mentioning that Krishna is not like us. He is we like like he always says that Janma Karma Chame Divyam in Bhagavad Gita. So because this one thing about karma is very like somewhere only, like it says that only devotees can understand it. So many times, even like in our temple, I think last to last Sunday or something like that, I was discussing with one of the devotees. He comes to the temple, but is not like fully into Krishna consciousness. So he comes to the temple and do services and everything. So he's nice person. So while discussing, he mentioned that karma is everything. See, even Krishna had to undergo so much issues, like he was shot by an arrow, or even on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he got shot so many arrows like that. So there is so much like they get basically illusion that Krishna is also going through the same thing that we are going through, but the understanding in Bhagavad Gita is given clearly that his appearance and disappearance is divine, his body is divine, so nothing is happening out of he is not going through it, it is happening at his own will, like that. So yeah, I mean, like, it's really wonderful how Prabhupada mentions it. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing your thoughts. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think karma is everything without understanding the intricacies of that. And that's fine. I mean, at least as long as they are doing service and hearing and eating prashadam, hopefully consciousness will evolve like all of us, we were in our so-called previous life. We had a lot of conceptions or misconceptions, and slowly, with the association of devotees, the right knowledge is transmitted to us by mercy of Srila Prabhupada and his followers. So we can definitely help such souls, at least who are coming to temple, interested in service, joining the program, and encourage them. Thank you for sharing that, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Anyone else would like to say anything before we wind up today's class?
A couple of things in pursuance of Srila Prabhupada's point about the old men going to nightclubs and dance clubs. Srila Prabhupada gave the example of Akbar asked his minister when sex desire leaves or goes away. I think it was Akbar the second, not Akbar the first. But anyway, this minister said, no, it never goes away, even at. So then Akbar was doubtful of that. So the minister said, "You come, I'll bring you to a person. I want you to meet somebody who's on their deathbed, but you bring your young daughter along." So Akbar came to meet the person with the minister and brought his daughter along. And even though he is the king, the emperor, the dying man, the person on his deathbed, still looked first at the daughter. So it was confirmed that material desires, especially sex desire, even before the point of death, doesn't go away. Unless someone becomes advanced in Krishna consciousness. You have something better. Param dvishtva nivartate. And there's a comment Srila Prabhupada made about people who interpret Bhagavad Gita saying, no, it's not to Krishna the person, but it's the impersonal spiritual energy within Krishna that you have to surrender to, and like that. Of course, that's from Dr. Radha Krishnan's Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada went to visit Dr. Radha Krishnan in one of his tours of South India. I don't know if you happen to know that.
Yes.
And Dr. Radha Krishnan was in great difficulty. He couldn't even speak, and Srila Prabhupada was preaching to him in the person. He became, Dr. Radha Krishnan became emotional, but it was difficult to understand if he knew what he was talking about. So anyway, he died a very miserable death shortly thereafter. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Beautifully explained, yes. Param drishtra nivartante. Unless you get the higher taste, it's difficult to leave the lower taste. And that's what hopefully all of us are getting in Krishna consciousness movement. Slowly able to transform our habits to better habits.
Impossible to leave the lower taste.
Yes, impossible. Yes, Prabhu. Very true. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we are dot at 9 a.m. If no more comments, no more sharing, we can wind up today's call. Thank you again, everyone, for joining. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.
Right.